Welcome back to the Sharing English podcast, where we explore stories from the English-speaking world, spoken slowly and clearly for curious English learners like you. Let's get started. Hello, I'm your host, Freya. Today, we're traveling to one of the most important places in American history, Ellis Island. For over 60 years, Ellis Island was the gateway for millions of immigrants coming to the United States. It was the start of a new life for many families, and it changed the country forever. So what is Ellis Island? Well, Ellis Island is a small island in New York Harbor, near the Statue of Liberty. From 1892 to 1954, it was the busiest immigration station in the U.S. During that time, about 12 million people passed through Ellis Island. It was named for Samuel Ellis, a Manhattan merchant who owned the island in the 1770s. Today, Ellis Island is a great example of a land reclamation project. A large portion of the current island consists of landfill. Originally, it was used by the state of New York and later the federal government in various ways, before being turned into an immigrant processing site. When ships arrived in New York, passengers were first taken to Ellis Island for inspection. Doctors and officials checked their health, asked questions, and decided if they could enter the country. Most people were allowed in, especially passengers in first and second class, who were often checked on board the ship and then allowed to go into the city directly. Passengers in third class, however, underwent a thorough medical and document check on Ellis Island, and some, around 2%, were sent back to the country they came from if they were sick or didn't have the right documents. Most immigrants who passed through Ellis Island came from Europe. Many were escaping war, poverty, or discrimination. Some were Jewish families fleeing violence in Eastern Europe. Others were Italians looking for work, or Irish families hoping for a better life. A lot of immigrants came with almost nothing, just a small suitcase and big dreams. These people helped build the United States. They farmed land, worked in factories, opened small businesses, and raised children who would grow up to be Americans. The U.S. became known as a melting pot because of all the different cultures that mixed together. Though today, many people prefer to refer to the U.S. as a salad, where the different cultures are able to participate in life in the U.S. while maintaining their cultural identity. In the early years of Ellis Island, there were very few immigration laws. Almost anyone could come in. But over time, the U.S. government made more rules. For example, in 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act banned Chinese workers. And in 1924, a new law limited immigration from many countries, especially those outside of Northern and Western Europe. These changes were often based on fear, racism, and the belief that some people were more desirable than others. After 1954, Ellis Island closed as an immigration center, and today it's a museum. Even for those who made it through Ellis Island, life wasn't easy. Many people faced discrimination because of their language, religion, or appearance. They had to learn English, find jobs, and adjust to a new way of life. Some were paid very low wages. Others lived in crowded neighborhoods. But many immigrants formed communities, helped each other, and held on to their traditions while also becoming American. Immigration changed not just the population, but the language of the U.S. too. English in America became full of new words from other languages. Pizza from Italian, kindergarten from German, bagel from Yiddish. Accents and grammar also changed over time as English mixed with other languages. Immigrants helped create the English we speak in the U.S. today. Diverse, flexible, and always evolving. But the U.S. isn't the only English-speaking country shaped by immigration. Let's look briefly at a few others. Canada has welcomed immigrants for decades and now uses a points-based system. About 1 in 5 Canadians is foreign-born. The UK saw major immigration after World War II, especially from former colonies like India, Pakistan, and the Caribbean. Australia also has a long immigration history, with people coming from Europe, Asia, and beyond. Like Canada, it also uses a points-based system. Each of these countries has had both successes and challenges with immigration. They've all had debates about identity, integration, and language. But immigration has also brought new ideas, foods, music, and energy. Ellis Island reminds us of the hopes and hardships that come with starting a new life in a new country. It also shows us how the English language and culture have grown through the experiences of immigrants in the U.S. and around the world. Ellis Island is one of my favorite places to visit in New York City. It brings me just a little bit closer to my ancestors who embarked on similar journeys from different European countries to the U.S. While I don't know for sure if any of my family were processed through Ellis Island, I know that their struggles and sacrifices, just like those of the immigrants who were processed through Ellis Island, helped shape the identity of the community I grew up in, my family, and myself. And I'm curious, have you or someone you know ever moved to a new country? What was the process like? Let me know. Thank you for listening to the Sharing English podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a rating or review, and share the podcast with a friend who's also learning English. You can find out more about me and the podcast at our website, www.sharing-english.com. New episodes of the Sharing English podcast are available weekly wherever you listen to podcasts. As always, let me know, what topics are you interested in hearing more about? Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep sharing English.